Hey guys, so I figured I would make another video about minimalism and what I am doing so far to become a minimalist and prepare to move into my tiny house. So currently I've been just pretty much sorting through clothes and books. I don't really have actually that many possessions right now, so I'm pretty lucky to be starting this sort of a lifestyle with sort of almost a head start because I never really acquired that many things. I've always found that material things and consumerism and that whole world just never seemed to really make sense to me because people always bought into this idea that happiness is created through buying more. But if you're not happy without that new thing, what makes you think you're going to be happy with it? And it's actually proven fact that people who have more things have more mental illnesses and go to the psychiatrist more often and things like that. I just feel like with less things I'll be able to travel more. I won't feel so weighed down. Like a lot of times I feel like people who are getting older, they obviously acquire so many things from gifts or just like for memory's sake they want to keep their great grandmother's chair or something. And those sort of things are the things that hold us back from, say, traveling or trying something new. And so if you don't have that many material possessions, you'll feel much lighter and be able to just go wherever you feel like going. As I already said, I've begun sort of decluttering my clothing, which seems to be the only real thing that I have too many things with. And so right now I have just over 100 items of clothing. And there's winter here and summer, so I would say I need maybe a little bit more than people who are just living in a warm climate. So the first thing is if it's functional, if it's versatile, if it makes sense to keep, if it's like a jacket or a sweatshirt, opposed to say like a cute crop top that isn't very practical. Another thing to consider is if it was sustainably bought and sustainably made. So I've pretty much stopped buying from any regular retailer and I pretty much only buy from thrift shops now, and any gifts that I get, if I don't like it, I'll donate, but if it's gifted to me brand new, I'm not gonna not use it. But there's also websites where you can buy sustainably sourced items such as People Tree, I believe, is one. I'll link them below. And Threads for Thought. There's a few others, but that's one of the big things that I've done. And I've also realized how much more economical it is because the whole industry of making clothing, women's fashion, men's fashion, whatever, it's a total mess. And I just watched a documentary called The True Cost of Living on Netflix, and it gets into the whole detail of how it works. And the fact is that clothes are getting cheaper and cheaper, but the cost of making them isn't. And so the people who are manufacturing these items are taking the cut because these companies from America are like, okay, can you manufacture this shirt for $3? And if the manufacturer says no, then they're just going to find someone who will. And so they are pretty much at the demand of what these people are wanting, and if they can't deliver, they'll go somewhere else where they can. Another idea that I got from this documentary, was this idea that we can now like use up our clothing. Like we have this idea that it's disposable now, but really it's not, and it never used to be that way. Like, we don't look at our clothes like we do a washing machine that's functional and, you know, eventually goes bad after, you know, years of use. But now we just, you know, pick up a pair of leggings, and if we don't like them in 2 weeks, then we get rid of them. But really, where is that clothing going? Even if you're donating it to a thrift shop, this thrift shop, you know, only keeps 10% of the clothing, and then it gets shipped back to these third world countries where they're making them. They're making the clothing, which then ends up coming back, and there's just way too much waste in the textile industry. It's simply just not sustainable to live that way, and so minimalism is at the heart of trying to address this issue that, you know, we can't keep on consuming and thinking that, you know, consume, and then donate or throw away. It's not disappearing. It's still in our world somewhere. And so we have to get rid of this idea that we can just dispose of our used clothing, when we need to really be conscious of what we're consuming, where it's from, if it's fair trade, because often these workers aren't getting a fair living wage, which I don't think most people would want to support that if they knew they're making like $2 to $3 a day, which is not living wage in these places and areas. So to sum this video up, because I kind of got ranting on about that documentary, which you guys should watch, but I'm going to try and keep you posted on how I'm doing with minimizing and see how many things I can get down to. I am already noticing that I used to really focus and think about like things and what I would be doing with these various items that I wanted, but I find that I'm no longer wanting things, and I'm being much more conscious of what I end up buying. Just kind of as a guide now for when I go shopping, I try to first of all really make sure that it's functional and practical for my life, and even with, you know, my intentions to move into this tiny house that I'm building, it's so important for everything that I buy from here on out to actually, first of all, have a place and fit and be practical, functional. You know, I don't want something that's has like a 2-year lifespan. I want something that's good, high quality, but yet still affordable. I also want to make sure, say if it's clothing or bowls or something, that I actually like it and am not just keeping onto it because, oh, someone else gave this to me. You know, you can't really feel bad about those sort of things, because the things you surround yourself with very much become a part of you, and the more you see them, the more you think about them. And if you have this thing that you don't really like, but you're keeping onto it because you think you're going to offend someone else, I mean, that's just negative energy that you really don't need. And the last thing would probably be just making sure you're getting it from a sustainable place. So, alright, so I think that's the end of my video / rant for today. I am hopefully going to be coming out with a website in the near future where I will be tracking my progress on various things like my tiny house, and also veganism and recipes, maybe an ebook. But yeah, there's some exciting things happening for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll